So, you're about to dive into some serious research. You've probably heard the term literature review thrown around, and let's be honest, it can sound like a total chore. But what if I told you that's the completely wrong way to look at it? Today, we're diving into insights from Mohammed AbdEllah's academic writing to reframe the literature review. We're going to see it for what it really is, your personal map to an incredible discovery.
It all starts here, right? You have that one burning question, that thing you just have to figure out, that little piece of the puzzle you want to add to the world. That spark is the engine for every single piece of original research. It's that deep down desire to know something no one else has figured out yet. And this is the crucial step that so many people try to skip. Before you can charge off into the wilderness to discover new territory, you absolutely have to know the existing landscape. You need a map that shows you where other explorers have already been. And that map, your most essential tool for the journey, that's the literature review.
Okay, so let's get the official definition on the table. A literature review is a critical analysis. Now, I want you to really focus on those two words. This is not, I repeat, not just a laundry list of books you read. It's not a book report. It's an active, intellectual process of thinking and evaluating.
This right here is such a key distinction. A simple summary is totally passive, right? It just says, so-and-so said this. But a critical analysis, which is the absolute heart of a great lit review, is active. You're the detective. You're connecting the dots between different authors, you're weighing the strengths and weaknesses of their arguments, and you're weaving it all together into one big, coherent picture of the entire field. So, why do all this work? I mean, what is the ultimate endgame here? It all comes down to this one thing: finding the gaps. You're looking for what hasn't been said. What questions are still hanging in the air, where the research is maybe a little shaky. Because that gap, well, that's where your original contribution is going to live. Okay, so how do you even begin this whole mapping process? You can't just wander around aimlessly in the library, right? You need a compass. And for a literature review, your compass is a solid set of guiding questions that give your search focus and a real sense of direction. Think of these 5 questions as your true north. As you read, you're constantly asking yourself, okay, what do we actually know for sure? Who disagrees about this and why? How did they do their research? And was it any good? What are the big arguments people are having? And, the most important question of all, so what? Why does any of this even matter?
All right, that all sounds a little abstract, I get it. So let's make it super concrete. Let's pretend you're researching how virtual reality is being used in medical schools. Your literature review might have a title that looks something like this. See how specific and focused that is?
And look at this. This is where the magic happens. You see how those big general questions from before suddenly become sharp and specific? Instead of asking, what's the state of knowledge, you're now asking, what specific types of VR apps are actually being used right now? You're calibrating your compass for your unique little piece of the world.
All right, you've got your topic, you've got your guiding questions, you are ready to start drawing your map. But listen, every good map needs a clear, logical structure, or else nobody can read it. So let's break down the 3 key parts. Yeah, I know. Introduction, body, and conclusion. It sounds like every essay you wrote back in school, but trust me, this structure is a classic for a reason. It's going to guide you as the writer, and it's going to guide your reader on the journey. Let's dig into what each part actually does. Your introduction is all about setting the stage. Think of it like the legend on your map. You're telling your reader, hey, here's the area we're about to explore, and here's why it's so important that we explore it right now. You're basically drawing the borders and defining the exact territory you're going to cover. Now, the body, this is the adventure itself. This is where the real work happens. This is you, the cartographer, carefully charting all the known landmarks. You'll group studies together, maybe by theme, maybe by date, and for each major point, you'll summarize what they found, and, this is the most important part, you'll critically evaluate it. And here is the secret sauce. That whole act of critically evaluating isn't about being mean or just finding fault. As the source material points out, its entire purpose is to identify any gaps. So every single time you analyze a study, you are actively on the hunt for that uncharted territory on your map.
And finally, we arrive at the conclusion. You don't just stop and say, well, that's everything everyone's done. No way. You summarize the major landmarks you've charted, and then you plant a big flag on that blank space you discovered. You suggest a future study agenda, which is your way of saying, hey everyone, X marks the spot. Here is the next great adventure for a researcher to take. Which brings us to the whole destination of this entire process. Everything we've talked about, the questions, the structure, the critical analysis, it has all been leading up to this one single powerful moment of discovery.
And if you remember one thing from this, please let it be this. Finding a gap in the literature is not a dead end. It is not a failure or a criticism of the field. It is the exact opposite. It's the starting line. It's the green light for your own original work. It is your formal invitation to contribute something new to the conversation.
So you see, the literature review isn't some boring obstacle you have to get through. It's the very foundation that makes your own original research possible. It gives your work meaning and a real place in the world. So the only question left is the one on your screen. You have the tools now. You can draw the map. What new world are you going to discover?